Right now, birth rates are collapsing across the planet. South Korea just hit 0.7 children per woman. That's not enough to replace the people dying. Japan's population is shrinking by 500,000 people every year. Even Elon Musk keeps warning we're headed for demographic catastrophe. But what if this isn't a warning? What if it's inevitable? What if humanity just stopped having kids entirely? At first, it feels like relief. Traffic gets lighter. Housing becomes affordable again. That apartment you couldn't afford, suddenly available. Cities breathe easier without the constant expansion. Elementary schools start closing. One by one, playgrounds go silent. The sound of children laughing in neighborhoods fades into memory. Toy stores shut down. Pediatricians retire with no one to replace them. But here's what's strange. Nobody really notices at first. Adults just keep living their lives, working, traveling, building careers. The world feels calmer, less chaotic. Theme parks that once had 2-hour lines now run empty. Disney World operates at 30% capacity. Universal Studios tours echo with silence. The infrastructure built for families with children sits unused, slowly weathering in the sun. Maternity wards in hospitals convert to storage. Baby formula disappears from store shelves. Car manufacturers stop making minivans and SUVs. The entire economy, built around childhood, just vanishes. 3 decades in, the world looks different. Everyone's older now. The youngest person on Earth is 30. The average age is 55 and climbing fast. Walk through any city and you see it. Restaurants close at 7 p.m. because there's no one to work night shifts. Coffee shops struggle to find baristas. Construction sites sit abandoned, unfinished, because there aren't enough workers. Entire industries collapse. Fashion trends freeze because there's no young generation to create new ones. Music stops evolving. The last concert tour happens. Social media platforms become ghost towns as everyone ages out of caring. Universities shut down in waves. MIT, Stanford, Oxford, all closing their doors. No students, no future scientists, no next generation of thinkers. Libraries full of knowledge with no one left to learn it. The economy enters a death spiral. Retirement funds collapse because they were built on a pyramid scheme, always assuming more young workers would pay for the old. But there are no young workers. Social security fails. Pensions evaporate. Nursing homes overflow. But here's the nightmare. There aren't enough young people to staff them. The elderly care for each other. 70-year-olds helping 90-year-olds. The burden becomes unbearable. 60 years without a single birth. The youngest person alive is now 60. Everyone else is elderly or dead. Cities that once held millions now hold thousands. New York, Tokyo, London, all slowly emptying. Skyscrapers stand dark. Subways run empty trains on automatic schedules for riders who no longer exist. Power grids fail because there's no one left to maintain them. Neighborhoods go dark, sector by sector. Clean water becomes scarce as treatment plants shut down. Grocery stores empty as supply chains collapse. Society fragments into small communities of the elderly trying to survive. They grow food in abandoned parking lots. They burn furniture for heat. Technology stops advancing because there's no one left to innovate. The internet goes silent. Servers fail. Data centers lose power. Humanity's entire digital history, all those photos, videos, social media posts, every website ever made, everything vanishes into digital darkness. Governments dissolve, elections stop happening because what's the point? There's no future to vote for. Laws become meaningless, money loses value. The entire concept of human civilization, built on continuity across generations, just ends. A century without children, the human population has dropped from 8 billion to maybe 100,000, all of them over 100 years old. The last generation. They gather in small groups in cities that once held millions. Miami, Barcelona, Singapore. Ghost metropolises where a few hundred elderly humans shuffle through streets built for crowds. One by one they die. No dramatic moment, no final speech. Just quiet deaths in empty apartments. Bodies that no one finds for weeks. The last doctor dies, then the last engineer, the last teacher, the last artist. Nature doesn't wait. Vines crawl up buildings, trees burst through concrete. Wolves return to Central Park. Deer wander through Times Square. The planet slowly erases every trace we built. And then one day, in some small room somewhere, the last human being dies. Alone. No one there to witness it, no one to record it. Humanity doesn't end with a bang or a war or an asteroid. It ends with an old person closing their eyes for the final time in a world that's already moved on. 50 years after the last human dies, Earth is unrecognizable. Cities crumble, steel corrodes, glass shatters, concrete cracks and splits as tree roots tear through foundations, skyscrapers collapse floor by floor, bridges rust and fall, dams burst, flooding valleys. The atmosphere clears, carbon dioxide levels drop, the planet's temperature stabilizes, coral reefs recover, fish populations explode, forests regrow across former farmland. Elephants roam through the ruins of Bangkok, jaguars hunt in the remains of São Paulo, eagles nest in collapsed skyscrapers. The planet heals from the wound we were, our legacy, plastic buried in sediment, radioactive waste sealed in concrete, satellites tumbling dead in orbit, a thin layer of unusual minerals in the geological record that future alien archaeologists might find millions of years from now. Everything we built, every book written, every song composed, every scientific discovery, every work of art, every moment of joy and suffering across 300,000 years of human existence, gone, erased, as if we never existed at all. But here's what's fascinating. This future isn't inevitable, it's a choice. Every generation makes it. Right now, birth rates are plummeting, yes, but not because people can't have children, because they're choosing not to, because housing is unaffordable, because climate change feels apocalyptic, because raising a child costs $300,000, because the future looks uncertain. We're the first species in Earth's history capable of choosing our own extinction, not through war or disaster, but through collective exhaustion, through looking at the world and deciding, maybe we shouldn't pass this on, and maybe that's okay. Maybe having children shouldn't be an obligation. Maybe humanity's story doesn't need to last forever. But if we do choose to continue, we better make a world worth inheriting. Because children aren't born into the world we have, they're born into the world we're building. The question isn't what if everyone stopped having kids? The real question is, what kind of future are we creating? Because right now we're building a future where people look around and think, I don't want to bring a child into this. And if that doesn't terrify us, nothing will. The choice is ours. We can build a world worth inheriting, or we can be the generation that quietly decided humanity had run its course. Every empty playground, every closed school, every declining birth rate. That's not just data, that's a message, and we better start listening.